of Paramhansa Yogananda that he wrote in 1925. And today I'm going to be talking about healing by spiritual affirmations and by astral food. But before I begin, let's have Yogananda's own voice just for a minute or so.
Devotion, feeling, wisdom and reason, when they are commingled in our hearts, when with our feeling we enjoy our wisdom, then we can perceive truth, even as God perceives wisdom, and does not arrive at conclusions to the dialectics of reason. One crow is black, two crows are black, millions of crows have been found to be black, therefore all crows are black. Well, this inductive reasoning is false, because they found white crows in Australia. Then they say all men are mortal, this is a man, therefore he is mortal. Well, Jesus said, destroy this body and I shall build it again. He lived again. He resurrected himself, as Master resurrected himself, and as Babaji is still living in India. Whether you believe or not, that isn't the question. These are verities that exist.
Well, there you have it. He puts it very clearly, and it's perfect commentary that he offers on this particular section about healing by spiritual affirmation and astral food. We have all around us and within us all that we need for healing. And I want to start with, he starts with spiritual affirmations. And he points out that, let's say we have an affirmation for good health, but as we're saying the affirmation, we're tired, we're maybe skeptical, a little bit concerned that maybe nothing will happen. And so we're affirming, but we're also at the same time having a recording of sort of negative thoughts just behind the affirmation, and then we're surprised if nothing happens. So he talks about thinking of God, about meditating, about calling on God's power to help us in this affirmation, and finding balance and rhythm in our thoughts. He says, hence the right thoughts expressed in rightly uttered words will set up a rhythmic, etheric vibration and initiate proper actions in the affirming individual and in all circumstances connected with the successful attainment of that desired result. He also goes on to say, thus if you're angry and affirm with anger in your heart, I am peace, I am peace, your parroting peace will mean nothing, but instead you will develop more anger. And if you affirm, I am rich, with a belief that you will never be rich, you will remain poor, for your negative thoughts will keep you paralyzed, impotent, and unable to initiate the right modus operandi, which will yield you the desired result. So getting our thoughts, controlling our thoughts, and getting them in harmony with our affirmation is essential. And of course, he goes on to explain that this can take place when we meditate deeply with ever increasing devotion and concentration with each repetition of the affirmation. And so he goes on to give a very interesting thought. He says, in group affirmations, it is best to take a sentence. In other words, if you have a very long affirmation, it's difficult for people to maintain the continuity of concentration on what they're actually saying. He goes on then again, talks about that most people, when they're in a choir and they sing in a choir, they sing to their audience, they sing to please people, they sing to hit the right notes, but very few people, very few choir directors ask their people in church choirs in particular, Sangha choirs, to sing with the heart and to sing to God. God is who we're singing to please when we're in the temple or the church. And so attuning ourselves in that way when we're singing, he addresses that. He talks about starting an affirmation loudly and then becoming quieter and quieter until finally you're affirming it with the mind in silence, which of course is what we do on Sundays at the Ananda Temple and services. He says, affirmations remind the soul of what is already his and what it does not have because of forgetfulness. In other words, any qualities that we can affirm, he is telling us we already have it. All we have to do is remember that we have it and to draw upon it. And then he goes into a little explanation of why not to be a beggar in our affirmations, like, or our prayers, like, please God, do this, do that, give me this, give me that. But understanding that the divine Father, the divine Mother is our very own. We are a child of the divinity, and we can affirm in such a way that, well, what Yogananda calls them later in the book that he writes, Whispers from Eternity, which was published, quite a bit after these 1925 lessons. In the beginning of that book, he talks about prayer demands, and he infuses the book with prayer demands so we can understand the concept that we are not beggars. And then for a very interesting section, well, first of all, he gives a few single sentences, and I'll just give you an example or two. He says, thou art happy, I am thy child, therefore I am a happy child. Or, Father, thou hast everything, I am thy child, I have everything. So these are just some examples of simple affirmations we can do. And then this next section is very interesting. It's called Food of the Future. I mean, it's all part of this lesson. And he talks about foods of the future: energy. The future food of the world will all come by receiving different rays from cosmic energy, cosmic rays, electrons, atoms, and air. drawn through different openings of the body. In his autobiography of a yogi, he visits Teresa Neumann in Germany, who was a saint who uh, experienced the stigmata of her guru, of Christ, and who didn't eat or drink. The only thing she took every day was the communion wafer under her tongue. That was it. She lived on cosmic energy. And there are others in the book as well who he visited, saints who he visited, who lived on cosmic energy. And then he talks about how to draw that cosmic energy. If one constantly keeps his or her mind concentrated on the point between the eyebrows at the Christ Center or Katushta Chaitanya and sees there the spiritual eye and commands it to recharge the body with strength, it will do so. By doing this, people would cease growing old. So actually, I remember Swami Kriyananda explaining that Yogananda said that as we advance in the ascending ages, as we are doing right now in the ascendant cycle, people will live longer and they will also become taller. And this explains how, because we'll be working more and more with cosmic energy. And then he talks about from the sun, energy from the sun as a food of the future. He talks about covering the body with a blanket and leaving exposed only the area of the medulla and drawing in consciously, laying there on our tummies, drawing in consciously the sun to that point and charging up our energy batteries. And then he says, take a sun bath. Of course, these days, with the holes in the ozone, there are issues with that. But he talks about deeply drawing in every cell of our being, and not just absent-mindedly, the cosmic energy of the sun. And then he goes on about from electrons. In order to receive electronic energy from the ether, expel the breath, remain calm while sitting in the erect posture, and feel the electronic energy surrounding your body and entering through your body cells, or receive energy through your fingers while your hands are lifted over your head. So he gives some techniques about how to do this. And then finally, from oxygen, food of the future, sit upright in a chair, close your eyes, expel the breath quickly, and start inhaling very slowly through the nostrils, thinking that the air is filling your brain, lungs, heart, spine, stomach, abdomen, thighs, legs, arms, and so forth. You can also inhale quickly and fill the whole body with the atomic power in the oxygen. Well, of course, some of these ideas, some of these concepts are found in his energization exercises as well, especially the last two. So I am going to close this particular section of the reading that we're working with today and wish you all a gorgeous sunny day, especially if you're watching from the greater Seattle region. Reman and I are on Camano Island at Ananda Camano, and it is a glorious day. So enjoy that sunshine, draw in that cosmic source of food to feed the body and the mind and the soul. Joy to you.